Hey everyone, happy Monday. This time tomorrow, I'll be driving to Cleveland. Let's go. I still have a great interview for you today. I just wanted to jump in real quick, give you an update from the weekend, and share some last minute pickups, and let you know where you can view all my inventory for next week for National SoCo Expo. Everything, well, all my slab stuff anyways, not singles, but all the slab stuff that's easy to put up there. I did 2 shows this weekend. On Saturday, I walked the Plainville show, both local shows. I walked the Plainville show here in Connecticut. I had a few pickups there, I'll share with you. Hendon Hooker, Prism Silver. If you remember my last episode, all the cards that I'm looking to pick up, here they are. I already started. I didn't even get the national yet. I already started. Kiki Rice, auto gold, number to 75. And that's the Bowman University. And this is the Juju Watkins, Topps McDonald's All-American auto. So I'm excited already to have a few pickups of these cards, starting to see these cards appear right at some of these shows, and I think there's going to be a ton of these out in Cleveland, so I'm going to be excited to be picking those up. On Sunday, I set up at the New Britain show here in, again, a local show, Connecticut, and it was definitely an interesting day there. There was decent, I would say, decent foot traffic for a Sunday in the summer, right? But the the Plainville show that I did walk Saturday, and I set up in New Britain on Sunday. They're not very far from each other, right? So you got some even the same dealers that will set up at both of those shows, and some of the same people who are walking the show as well. So I almost kind of felt like it was going to be one of those, dealer buying and selling to other dealers. And I think for the most part, it probably was. I had pickups there, when I was there. But I think a lot of people came to dig through singles boxes. And for me, 2 shows ago, I went through, I have shelves of boxes of cards here. So I bought a bunch of 5-row boxes, and I just started filling them up with all these cards. And a couple of shows ago, I probably have 10 of them, like 10 5-row boxes, and just kind of separate, all different sports, all different years, just like a hodgepodge of cards. Filled all the boxes up. I started buying an extra table, and I put them all on one table and just said $1 a card. And that at the show was the highlight for me. It was the highlight, the people digging through those boxes and finding cards. And like I said, every card's $1. And that was the only thing I sold. I didn't sell anything slabbed out of my showcases. Everything I sold were singles. So here, I'm a local show on Sunday, went and set up, throw those boxes out at the end of the day. It paid for both the tables I had, and I ended up, buying 4 slabs that I'm going to share with you. And I pretty much went home even. So I mean, to me, that's a great day. That's a win. My pickups from that show, not great. All right, not, these ones aren't earth shattering, but definitely decent pickups. 2022 Prism Brees Hall autograph, no huddle, PSA 9. 2020 Don Russ optic, Jalen Hurts purple shock, PSA 10. 2020 Contenders optic, Jalen Hurts blue. This is PSA 9, and it's numbered to 99. And 2023 Prism Hendon Hooker black and white checker. Super excited about this card. It's only a pop 10. So, and again on him, and people are asking me, like, I bought 2 of those cards, and they're asking me, they're like, "You're really that big on him?" And you know what? I think if the cards are that cheap right now, and a lot of times I'll say, "Oh, I should buy those cards because they're cheap," and then I'm like, "Nah, why would I waste my money?" And it's usually when I think that is when 6 months, 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, all of a sudden, for whatever reason, some sort of scenario, this guy's cards are going through the roof, right? So this time I said, you know what? When I can find them and the price is right and they're under comps and I know people are just happy to move them, I'll take them and I'll hold on to them. All I need is one good piece of news, one good start, one anything, and all those cards could double or even better. So that's where I'm at that. Definitely prospecting. I mean, it could be a complete waste of money, and they all could end up in a discount box somewhere. But I'm willing to take my chance on it. And Friday, before the weekend started, I met my guy on Instagram at Military Breaker for an easy deal. I talked about this on the last episode. I picked up the Donruss Optic Anthony Richardson downtown PSA 10. That card is definitely a banger. Excited to have that card, especially heading to Cleveland tomorrow. I'm adding all these cards to the Mascot app or with Mascot. And if you want to see the inventory, you can go to my IG, go to the bio, click on the link tree, and I've set up, there's a Mascot button in there. You can click on that, and I think there's about 11 or 12 pages of inventory listed through there. You can go through all my inventory and see all the cards. I didn't put any prices up. I don't think most people do, unless you're using that to put them online to eBay or other online auctions, which I'm not at this time. I'm just going to use it for this and some upcoming shows that I see Mascot is there for, so I can just leave whatever I have there and keep adding to it. And the next show, I can just, sync it up with the next show. Right now, it's synced up with the SoCo Expo. And again, if you're out there, you're set up, send me your booth number at the National. I'll come by and say hello. You want to connect with me, IG, you message me Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'm at SoCo Expo in the evening, 6 to midnight. And besides that, you'll catch me walking around the National. Episode today's guest, Scott from WCO Cards, another great interview, another great guy in the hobby, and it's always fun to hear somebody start out with an idea and a project, and it turns into a passion project, and it get to see it from beginning to end to its success or succession, right? So without further ado, here we go. Welcome to the Sports Card Lessons Podcast. I'm your host, Big Ken. Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on a streaming service, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. You'll be notified whenever I drop any new content. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Have a great guest on the show today. He is the founder of the SoCo Expo that's going to be in Cleveland. It's going to be running during the National. Scott at WCO Cards. Welcome, Scott. How are you today?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for having me on, Ken.
Yeah,
Really appreciate it.
I'm getting excited. We're weeks away. Probably, well, by the time this airs, it's going to be 1 week, by the time this episode drops. But right now we're about 2 weeks away from the National, and I'm sure we just talked briefly about it, how crazed you are with getting ready for Cleveland and the SoCo Expo show.
Yeah, it's been really interesting. I mean, we just keep having more people reach out to us who want to get added to the waiting list, which is fantastic, and we really appreciate the interest. This is going to be 3 nights of soccer utopia that we finally have the ability to walk into a room and actually there's soccer cards everywhere instead of just looking for one card. So
Yeah.
just I'm
Yeah.
super excited.
I want to start. I'm going to read something right now, and it's just going to give our listeners an idea of who you are and how far you and this has come in a year, right? So this was dated June 27th of 2023. Our first interaction, you sent me this message, and it says, "What are the best show what are best shows you have been to that have a ton of soccer, if any?" I'm I'm based in where are you? Minnesota or Michigan?
Michigan.
Michigan. And maybe
Yep.
two of 200 dealers have any soccer cards available. Appreciate your insights. I will be heading to the National for the first time since 1989, right? So here you reached out to me in June looking for any shows that might sell soccer cards, and you're going to your first national since 1989. Fast forward almost a year to the day. We're a few days into July, right? And now you're hosting, you're promoting a show next to the biggest sports show, in the world.
Yeah, I mean it's really come full circle. Getting back into the hobby in well, I started hearing about the hobby and different things during COVID that was going on. And my dad had pancreatic cancer. And so I just kept hearing all these like crazy high prices and all this different stuff. And so it kind of piqued my interest, but I really had no time. And dad eventually ended up passing away. And for me, getting back out of the house and everything was getting back involved in the hobby and in the community. And I had taken probably close to 30 years away from collecting cards. I used to be a card dealer when I was a kid. My whole life really revolves around collecting. I met my father-in-law when I was 13 years old when I was selling cards. Um, so I found my wife from selling cards. I bought a car when I turned 16 from selling cards. And I set up at hundreds of shows at that time when I was younger. But, during junk wax era and being a high schooler who's buying direct from Tops in the late 90s, you got your cases in before me. And it was my way to kind of exit at that point. But I ended up buying a bunch of T206s and 172s. And I did all the sports back then, but there was no soccer available at the time. And I went on and played Division One soccer and played a bit more after that.
So that was your sport. Soccer was your sport. You were selling all the other sports, but no. And there was, I mean, I think there was soccer cards back then, but just not in any abundance like baseball or football or basketball.
Yeah, I mean, like World Cup for Upper Deck ended up coming out after I was already done. So I just remember picking up
Okay.
a couple packs at the drugstore, and I'm like, okay, that's cool, but that's really all that it was at that time. And really going to the National in 1989, I took my dad there. So he was more so chaperoning me. I was already in the business, and I went there to go spend a bunch of money. And so I dragged them around, and so these were a bunch of the memories that I have from 1989 that brought me
Where
back
was
to
that?
the
Where was that
national.
national? Where was that
It
one?
was it was actually in Chicago. It was at McCormick Place at the time,
Mhm.
before they moved to Stevens Center.
Okay.
So yeah, we went there and did that. And I mean, I don't even remember trade nights back in those days. So I never got a chance to experience it until last year.
Yeah. Yeah. So fast forward a year, right? So last year you couldn't find any soccer anywhere. So this year you're like, you know what? I'll just put my own damn show on. I'll make sure there's
Yeah,
going to be soccer.
yeah. I mean, in many respects, in some of it was partially selfish. Is I just want to see cool stuff,
Yeah.
and I realized walking around the national, carrying around a sign saying "Got Soccer." There were like 10 or 12 guys who had soccer there. You were one of them, and you were the first table that I sought out.
Yeah.
Well, going to the trade nights, all of a sudden I saw there were a lot more people. And there were a lot more cards that were just sitting in Zion cases that people hadn't seen.
Yeah.
And so, like, I wanted to see that stuff.
Yeah. That was my discovery last year, really, at the National in Chicago. That I went there football heavy. Like I had a ton of football,
Mm.
but I also had women. I also had women's soccer and WNBA cards, right? So I brought everything. That's the whole thing. Never leave anything home, right? Don't if you're going out to battle, bring all your ammunition, that type of thing. So I brought everything with me, and I sold the football out. Within the first couple days, I emptied the cases. So I started pulling out all the women's stuff, and all of a sudden one person came by and they're like, call somebody else. They're like, hey, this booth number, they've got whatever. And then somebody else came over and said, hold on, I'm gonna throw you out on this Facebook group that we have this group that we're there. Next thing you know, I have a big crowd around my table. I'm like this would never happen in any of the shows that I set up at, here in the Northeast, any of them. If I filled all my cases up, I would get some people that came up, but no, not like the people who came to buy, at the National. So this year I spent the whole year collecting like that. That was my thing. Like I'll sell off the football before the National, but I want to bring all my WNBA and all my, now it's actually the Bowman Chrome University, the Caitlin Clark, the Angel Reese, but just a ton of soccer. Like I've been collecting the women's soccer all year long, right, to bring out there. And I know this is the play. Like this is where you're going to find the people who want these cards.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I know what you've been planning all year. I've been listening to you for a while, so I know what you've got in your case. And then also, I mean, I remember seeing like the Gold Sophia last year, and I know you're a big Trinity Rodman collector, and you were searching for a couple of the autos and different stuff there. And then I remember you bringing up Mike Tyson when we were talking. And so I when I was wandering around the National, I take some pictures and I'm like, here, this is booth number, whatever. I don't know if this is any interest for you, but like, at least you had like, feet on the floor who were looking for you as well. So that was half the fun too.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's just great. That's just great. And again, looking forward to this. So let's just talk a little bit about the show. So the dates of the show, I know, cause I'm set up there, the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right. And the times are 6 to midnight, right?
Correct. Yep.
So the
Yeah.
National ends at 6 o'clock every day, and this starts at 6 o'clock. And how far from the IX Center? Actually, let me ask you, what's the location? What are we in?
So we're in a UAW hall. It's 10,000 square feet. There's hundreds of tables and hundreds of chairs for us there. So it's just really easy to be set up. ATM on site, water fountain, kitchen, you name it. It's all there. So
Nice.
we have a stage for the DJ and MC, because honestly, I don't want to talk for 18 hours. There's other things to do. I need
I don't
someone to,
blame you.
yeah, I mean, I need to, we need to have someone keep us on track and have the schedule and everything to be able to do. And, I'd love to get some tips and tricks from you. I know you guys end up throwing your expo last year, your trade night as well. We can talk about that after as well. With this, it's 10,000 square feet. It's 110 tables. We have vendors, dealers, sponsors, whatever we want to actually call them, from around the globe. I mean, I think we have about over 15 or 20 countries being represented by people who are either setting up or who are actually showing up to be able to attend. And this is free for everybody to attend. It's free. There's free giveaways almost every 15 minutes. We had so many vendors and sponsors. We have so much stuff to give away. We had to increase the time slots because we had too many things to give away. We have live breaks going on. No, and this is all free outside of, and you had asked, it's 6 miles roughly from the IX Center or the airport. The IX Center, if people haven't been there, it's on its own island, and you need transportation to be able to leave from there. It's not like you're walking to the next hotel, and it's not like Chicago. It's definitely set up differently. So you'll end up seeing a big yellow school bus to be able to pick you up and drop you right off at the UAW hall for the SoCo Expo. And with it, we're feeding everybody. Free food, free transportation, free beverage, free giveaways, free to attend.
Wow. Free, right?
That's why if you see any of my posts, I keep playing the fish song, free, because that's exactly what it is.
So the focus is on soccer, but there'll be more than just soccer cards in the room, right? I'll be able to put my
Yeah.
WNBA cards out and a few football cards out there too, but mostly soccer. But you're going to see more than just soccer in the room as far as the cards go.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a good mix. It's going to
Yeah.
be very soccer heavy, but
Yep.
we have guys who set up at shows just as yourself all over the country, and everyone specializes in multi-sport or soccer and F1 or different things along there. So, and along with a bunch of women's sports for basketball and everything else. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we're really looking forward to seeing the nice mix in the room.
Yeah, I'm super excited because this is what I do. I talk about this all year. This is what I PC. This is what I collect, and I'm more excited to go out there to be somewhere where I can go shop myself, right? So this is going to be my first time this year going to the national, where I'm just going to be an attendee walking around. But my focus in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to look for the things. I have a list of things that I want to buy, that I want to look for, but I think that, I'm probably going to do a lot more shopping in the expo, because that's kind of what I PC to begin with than the actual national. So, I mean, who knows, when I get out there, it could be completely different, but that's the kind of the what I'm projecting, what I'm thinking in my mind. Yeah. So free admission, free transportation. So essentially somebody who's going to the national at 6 o'clock when it's over, they could go out, they could get on a bus, right? They could come to the expo and they could have dinner and they could
Yep.
win prizes and they
Yep.
haven't even spent a penny yet, right? That
Exactly.
so dinner, transportation, chance to win prizes, and they haven't even spent. I mean, you can't
Right.
get any better. You can't get any better than that. Um, and food, like how do you estimate the food? Like,
Well, I mean, that's been like the tough part that we've been trying to kind of figure through at this point is, we didn't sell any tickets. So we're trying to kind of figure out how many people do we need to transport? How many people do we need to eat? I know
yeah,
that we'll end up having, we have a certain budget that we're going to end up putting forth each day. And then we know at a certain point in time, we're going to end up cutting food off because, it's just not going to be endless.
yeah, yeah. No, I what? It's not endless.
It's not an all you can eat, but
Yeah,
it's all you can enjoy, more so being within the community and being part of the space and everything that's there.
yeah,
And and I think a bunch of our sponsors and vendors end up seeing that. Yesterday, we invited all of our sponsors to do a pre-show community dinner. So everyone, all the dealers and everyone who's set up, we have the ability to break bread together before anyone even walks foot into the show.
nice.
And I think that's just a big part of what we're trying to do here is really build the community, just really have a nice time and being able to see each other face to face, that we don't always have this opportunity. And to put it in one space for 3 nights that we have the ability to all just hang out, um, I couldn't be happier in that respect.
Yeah, yeah. One big party, getting
Yeah,
everybody together.
I mean, that's been the big joke, amongst the three of us between Adam, Anthony, and myself is like, honestly, we're just throwing a big party for the soccer community.
Yeah. You talked about sponsors. Any of
Yeah.
them, any of those sponsors going to be set up in the room?
Oh, yes. So our main stage title sponsors, we have GB Sports Cards, Soccer Breakers, Golden Goals, and Pat Poles. Those are our four main title sponsors that we have. We have a couple other sponsors. We have a security sponsor who's Breaking the Law Cards. And we have a vintage sponsor who's just for kicks. He's actually breaking out a collection that no one's seen for 50 years. He has 4 tables of vintage that no one's seen, and he's looking forward to selling all of it.
Wow, wow. That should be an attraction in itself, right there.
Yeah, and he's going to be right next to all the Eminence 101s that are coming in from Thailand. So there we have a vintage and a high-end row. So you're going to see a bunch of super fractors and Eminence 101s, some of the original Pele's from 58 to Alpha Goo and all the different things that you could think of. There's cards that are being broken out of vaults that people haven't seen and have been stashed away for years. And that's some of the most fun and exciting part. But really just being able to have the interaction with everybody and being able to see a room full of soccer cards. Because honestly, I just went to a show before we even hopped on today. I'm fortunate we have 3 to 5 shows here a week that I can attend, but it's all social. There's no cards there for me to get. So, like you were trying to prepare for the national. I started going through and looking at cards, and I'm like, well, what am I bringing? What am I not bringing? And do I even have time? And I realized I needed some supplies because I
Yeah.
needed to start sorting through and set some stuff out. So that's actually what I picked up this afternoon. Just really trying to get ready for, was it 3 weeks from now?
Yeah, just a few weeks. Yeah,
Yeah, 3 weeks from, yeah, exactly.
yeah, 3 weeks.
So,
Yeah, in
yeah,
fact, 3 weeks from today, I'll be driving
same.
to out there. Yep, yeah. So
Yeah.
you also have mascot in there, and I have to say this
Oh,
as
yeah.
I had Ezra on, right? Brought him on the show, and just a great guy. And I know I bought through. So in any of the shows, I always go on and I go through, because I bought some cards, using
Hmm.
the mascot app. That people at other shows, and then I would just contact them and say, "Oh, I see you have this Trinity Rodman. Like, it's never going to sell at that show, so just sell it to me now," type of thing. But it allows me to do that. So this is the first time that I'm going to a show and I'm setting up at a show that mascot is there. So last week I put over 80 cards, all just women's soccer, over 80 cards. I put them all out, all graded. I put them up there, and I got my booth number yesterday. I added it in. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I know there's a way because other people put on Instagram, click on this link and you go right to my inventory. So I go to the help. It says like info at, and I sent 2 minutes later, I get a personal email back from Ezra saying, "Oh, it's easy. Do this, 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 and that." I'm like, "Come on, man. It doesn't get any better than this, right? To get this done." So I'm super excited just about putting that up. Now I got to pull out all the WNBA, and I want to put them up there too. So I'm just excited that even people who may or may not be there could just go on a link now and just see every single card I have for sale.
Yeah, and that was really the whole point of reaching out to Ezra. I know I saw the interview you end up doing with him. I had reached out to him, and within 2 minutes, we knew that we were pretty much family already. We already had really close personal friends, and so yeah, he's like, whatever we can do to be able to help you, let's be able to do this. I really love their platform for the sheer fact, since it's a global game, the beautiful game, and we want to be able to include everybody. So just because you can't attend, if you might not be able to attend the expo this year, you have the ability to hop right onto with Mascot and be able to connect with everyone who's going to be showing their cards there. And
Yep.
then at the same time, we have a bunch of international buyers as well. So I just really love the platform of what they end up doing. I wanted to be able to incorporate it into our show as well. And, I thank with Mascot and Ezra for, allowing us to be able to do this and working with them to do so.
Hmm. Nice. So hobby celebrity, any celebrity guests? I mean, besides me, of course. Any other celebrities going to be there?
We have some other podcasters who are going to be there who claim to have the largest soccer podcast in the world, which is Soccer Cards United. You guys are actually you're on the international island actually.
Yeah.
So the majority of that island that you're on is
Yeah.
primarily people from overseas.
Oh, nice,
Uh,
nice. And yeah, I've listened to that. I've listened to those guys, or I've listened to them on other podcasts. Those guys from Soccer United. So
yeah,
it's like people who watch me and they're like, "Oh yeah, I know that guy. I listen to him all the time." Where I could say, "Oh, I know them because I listened to them." They have no idea who I am, right? But I've listened to them. But yeah, that's going to be fun to meet them in person. Um, I know you mentioned GV breaks, and it's
mhm,
funny that I just went on and looked because I had just gotten in. They did 10 cases of Parkside, the 2024 Parkside, and I was in 6 or 7 of those cases, and owning Trinity Rodman in 6 or 7. So
right.
so him and I got, we've never spoke or saw each other, but I know him really well too now just by watching, probably watched 12 hours of him breaking these boxes. So it's gonna be excited to see him out there as well. Yeah.
Yeah, George is a great guy. I'm looking forward to being able to see him again.
Yeah.
I flew out to Burbank in February and ended up meeting him and a bunch of other guys out there. And that was part of the communication that I had with you almost a year ago. Was I was really just trying to find out like where are the shows where soccer is and what makes sense to be able to do and really what are the shows to go to.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you, any idea what products they're going to be breaking out there, how the breaks are going to work out there in the at the expo?
So we have 3 live break times each night. We will have a separate space for live breaks. We're planning on using a projector so you could actually see what's happening from across the room so you don't have to be huddled right on top of the break. But the fantastic part is it is a live break for the people in the room. So, we plan on doing at least, up to 3 each night. And, we have the 4 title sponsors and we have roughly 9 time slots to be able to do that.
Nice. And the giveaways too. Now you said what, every 15 minutes there's going to be a giveaway,
Yeah.
every 10 minutes.
Or,
What are we looking at here?
yeah. I mean, I have the timing probably more so. I think it probably starts right at like 6:15. So the doors open at 6. Within 15 minutes, someone's going to win something, and it's going to continue to go on from there. So I think it'll be a little more spaced out. I'm trying to figure out the timing and the time slots, but really kind of keeping like the meat of the evening, big part of the evening with like, 4 slots an hour to
Yeah.
be able to go through. So I think it's going to be over 20 giveaways a night.
Nice. And people like to win stuff, you know.
Yeah,
That
and
brings
it's gonna.
that'll bring people to the room just by itself.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be super easy to be able to do. People are going to scan a QR code when they come in. They're going to plug in their information. That's it. So
Yeah.
once we have your information, we know who you are. We're going to put you right into the pool, and just like you see with any other break, we'll be able to go through whether it's spinning the wheel or whatnot. We'll pick a number, and you know your number 171, and you win, and we'll move on to the next. So, and the nice part is that each of the sponsors, vendors such as yourself, everyone's donating a card. So it's also a good interaction within the person who wins the card to also be able to see the person who's giving the card away and be
Mhm.
able to help kind of cross promote and help build some content for everybody as well.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. And just to throw out there, like this is truly a passion project for you. I mean, this is, you know, not like a nonprofit, if you will, right? I mean, you're not doing this to make any money, but just to provide an event where everybody can come together, share cards, share a meal, right? Meet new people, make friends, maybe win something, one of the giveaways, but really just to get together and enjoy the nights.
Yeah, I mean that's really been the feel from the get from both Anthony, Adam, and myself. We really just wanted to be able to make something conducive that we can all just be able to enjoy, be able to hang out, and be able to do. So, yeah,
Yeah.
we're not making any money on this. It's all turned into a second job or more for some of us.
Yeah.
And yeah, this truly is a labor of love, and we couldn't be happier to be doing this for the community.
Yeah. Any idea how many people you're expecting? I mean, I know you're not selling tickets, so there's really I don't know if there's any way you can even begin to guess what kind of attendance you'll have there.
We're thinking we're hoping that it's going to be relatively steady between 300-400 people, pretty constant throughout most of the night to be there.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be pretty fair across the board. I'm not really expecting anything less than that,
Yeah. I know we did
especially with what we're providing and what we're giving away
yeah.
and what we're doing. And then,
Yeah.
knowing from last year's, from the 2 trade nights and from what you guys have put on. So
Mhm.
we have a decent gauge, but we don't know.
Yeah. I know we put on that trade night last year and we were like, wow, we hope we fill the room. And it was crazy. I mean, it was in the room, down the halls, left, right, and it was still like 3 a.m. and the room was still full of people because the people at the hotel were just like, no, you just keep it open. Well, you know what? We had an open bar there too. And I'm sure they were crushing it. I mean, we didn't get any kickback
Yeah.
from that open bar, but I'm sure they were crushing the open bar there. You know, I know they were restocking that bar a lot that night. So
Yeah,
yeah,
our event is a BYOB, that we are not supplying any alcohol. There is not a bar there.
yeah.
We
Do
don't
they
need the
allow you?
liability.
They'll allow you to bring like if somebody wanted to bring in like some wine or some beer or something, you can do that.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Oh, that's good to know. Yeah,
Yeah, that's not a problem to be able to do. We just didn't want to take on the liability ourselves to be able to
yeah,
manage and do and staff and everything else. We want to be able to execute. And that's
yep,
really the whole thing. If we can end up doing the little things, if we can make sure that we end up executing what we plan on doing, um, then it's going to be a really big success.
yeah. Anything I missed? Anything that we haven't talked about yet that's important, other than
Uh,
free?
yeah. Well, I mean, outside of that, we are providing a little curriculum as well. So, being a former school teacher, we want to make sure that we're educating people who are coming to the expo. So this isn't, there's going to be an educational piece. We're going to have two panels a night, at least on the first two nights, and we're trying to figure out exactly what we want to do with the third night. If it's going to be a little curriculum and a FIFA tournament or open play or what we want to do there, but yeah, we have the live breaks, we have the curriculum, we have the kids zone area. So the kids are going to be able to learn, everything from pack wars to collecting basics and everything else that kind of goes with it. Looking to possibly have a scavenger hunt for the kids to be able to go around and find, different cards and different showcases
Yeah,
and being able to do some stuff there. And then, Craig had some good ideas as well when I spoke with Craig and Carmine last week as well.
nice, nice. I was at Chantilly 2 weeks ago, I guess now.
Hmm.
Um, they did a scavenger hunt there, and it was great interaction with the kids and their moms and their dads or whatever. That some of them were there for autographs, and some of them, like the parents, brought the child, but maybe didn't know a lot about it. And you see that a lot at shows where the parents are kind of there because they want to support the child, but they don't know what's going on, where it actually allowed the parent and child together to come and be looking in your cases, and they'll be like, oh, wait a minute, there's a Michael Jordan card or whatever, just right, and that it was a bingo thing, or like
Hmm.
you had to squares, you had to fill the card type of thing, and
Hmm.
everybody had something a little different. And yeah, I mean, they were all at one point on Saturday, they were all going out all different directions with the parents and the kids looking for things. And yeah, and I thought it was great. I just thought it really got both both of them involved, doing something, where sometimes you'll see the parents kind of stand back and let the kid do, whatever, or just the opposite. The parent is up there and the kids just tag it along. So this way, give them something to do together.
Yeah, so and Saturday that's really more so where we're looking on like the kids' diet and stuff like that. Especially so they can end up staying out a little bit later. We also know that there's other parties and other stuff that's going on by a couple of the manufacturers, and so we just want to be able to keep everything, keep the momentum and keep everything going, and
Yeah.
keep a full room.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to it. I think this is going to be, you know, even better than we imagine it. I do. I think
Uh,
it's going to be very successful. I think you guys have done a great job advertising it. I see a lot on Instagram, a lot of things being posted, and I have a lot of people reaching out to me saying, "Hey, I know you've talked about this. You're setting up there. What are the things we need to know? Or and I directed people your way, people looking for tables and things like that. So, I'm getting excited. And I think it's one of those things. It's like that big buildup, the last couple of weeks now, like they're just ramping up and people are just super excited. And I mean, where else can you go and say, look, we're going to transport you, we're going to feed you, and it's all for free. I mean, I don't know any other place out there that's going to happen.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, we're truly looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing a bunch of cool stuff in the room and just really being able to connect with everybody across the board. And And that's really even what I did last year. After meeting a bunch of people, I started emailing and like messaging you and messaging others. What was your favorite part about the national? What did you like about the trade nights? What was your favorite take home? And I was already surveying people,
Mm.
trying to figure out like, you know, let's turn this thing into a reality.
Yeah. And am I correct that I remember you said that you reserved this room last year, like during the national or right after last year's national?
Yeah, so right after the national, there were two soccer specific trade nights, and I drove through this crazy tornado storm Friday night after the trade night to get to a hotel and escape from the national. So I didn't want to be there for the weekend. And I was thinking about this on the entire drive as I'm seeing $30,000 cards laying on the floor, and just it really wasn't conducive. I never even showed a card for either of the trade nights. So like it was just really interesting. So while I was making that drive, I started trying to figure out, okay, it's in Cleveland. Let's try to find a space. Let's see what we can do. So yeah, I have my notes here. I signed a contract and put the deposit down on August 28th of 2023 for this facility.
Nice.
And then probably took me about 4 or 5 months to bring Adam and Anthony on,
Yeah.
to be able to have the right team to be able to really push this thing forward and get it to where it is today.
Yeah, I think that's when I booked my hotel room. It was like the
Yeah,
very beginning of September. I booked my hotel room out there because, somebody else had said to me, like, no, the Nationals not doing anything with hotel rooms this year. Like, all the hotels are scattered everywhere. Go find one. So, yeah, and I'm glad I did. I booked early because now I looked at more recently, I looked at the prices. I was like, oh my God, I'm glad I booked when I did. Yeah.
yeah, I remember you talking about it. I reached out to my Amex at the same time and said, "Hey, I need a room here, and what kind of deal do you have for me?" And they got the room booked for me and took care of it. But
Yeah.
now, in light of throwing the expo, I've rented out like two Airbnbs to make sure that we have staff and everything that's going on. And I have to change that's what part of what I have to change my room dates because I'm giving that to the DJ and MC now because I need a place to be able to house him. And so it's
Mhm.
worked out that I got that room, but I'm no longer staying.
You're never going to see that room.
No,
Yeah.
never.
Yeah. So, well, great. I'm looking forward to seeing you out there. Anything else you want to say? Tell people where they can get any information. If they have any questions for you, where they can reach you, where they can ask questions.
Thank you. Yeah, the SoCo Expo on Instagram, the SoCo Expo at Gmail, the SoCoExpo.com. All those places, you're going to get a really quick response back from me. We're just looking forward to being able to see everybody and get everybody out there. Can't wait.
Great. Yeah. All right. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. If you like what you hear, please definitely subscribe, and most importantly, tell a friend and spread the word. And until next time, take care of yourselves and everyone around you. Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Ken.